What was a moment you said to yourself, damn, I actually am stupid? When someone told me they had the same name as me, I said, really? What's your name? Needless to say, I felt like dying. I'm horrible with names. I got a new partner on the ambulance. He introduced himself and I promptly forgot his name. I hoped that sometime in the shift he would say it again. I remembered his last name. Duty assignments for the day were posted with last names, but not his first. No dice. We get to end of shift and I have to finally break down and ask him what his first name was. Finish paperwork. Yup, same as my first name. I will never forget the look he gave me. Found a lost smartphone when walking somewhere. It was the exact same model as my own phone. Dropped it off at the nearest police station so they could contact the owner. Found out later that I had dropped off my own phone instead of the one I found. Given the level of stupid in some of these others' stories, I was expecting you to say that you had found your own phone you didn't know was lost. My dad is a prankster. When I was about 18 he tried to convince me that Kenny Rogers owned Kroger. And it was really convincing. It didn't help that we called it Kroger's with an S and not Kroger, which is correct. He kept saying he even named it after himself. Kenny Rogers, K. Rogers, Kroger's. It made sense, but knowing my dad, my bullshit detector was going off, so I announced that I'll find out once and for all and call the local Kroger and ask. I called, asked for a manager. He gets on the phone and I ask if Kenny Rogers owns Kroger's and relay the argument my dad gave. The dude laughs hard for a solid 2 minutes. Thanks me for the best prank call he's had and hung up on me. 25 years later my dad still asks if I found out if Kenny Rogers owned Kroger yet. In the army I was learning how Humvees worked. You have to lock the doors from the inside by slamming down a bar. It's called combat locking the door. Then you put a padlock on the driver door to secure Humvee. My squad leader taught me a trick to reach through the window and slam down the bar instead of having to crawl through and reach the bar for each door. Then you just push the window up and you are done. I thought I was high speed when I learned this, so the next day when I was showing off my new trick, I locked all 4 Humvee doors faster than anyone. What I forgot was that you are not supposed to combat lock the driver door. This meant the Humvee was completely combat locked and could only be unlocked from the inside. I had to disassemble an armored Humvee door which took hours and was roasted the entire time by everyone around. This one time I was asked to ref a football match. Was gonna flip a coin to decide which team would start. I asked for a rep from each team, asked the first guy whether he was picking heads or tails. He picked heads. I asked the other guy what he was going to pick. Went to the store to buy coffee. Got home with pasta, lettuce and milk. I forgot the coffee. I went to Costco with the specific purpose of picking up my prescription. Decided I might as well pick up a rotisserie chicken while I was there. Get home with 1 chicken and 0 prescription. My boyfriend was weighing our suitcases the night before a flight. He did the classic, step on the scale and then step on the scale with the suitcase and do the math technique. One of the bags was a couple of kg over the limit, so I reassured him that by morning he will have lost a bit of weight which might help get back under the limit. Didn't think that one through. I spent a good 45 seconds trying to open a can of beans with a can opener and couldn't for the life of me figure out what I was doing wrong. I remember thinking it had been a while since I'd opened a can, but really? Then I took a good, hard look at what I was doing and realized I was trying to open a can with a potato peeler. Were you drunk or stoned? Like 2 beers in. Only other excuse I have was I was trying to keep my eyes on a movie in the other room. I put my phone in the freezer to charge. I remember having the thought that it would actually work. Several hours later, I couldn't find my phone. When someone called me, my brain refused to put together that the reason why my fridge was playing music was that my phone was in it. I just thought it was a feature I had missed. I was talking on the phone with my mom. After a while I got frustrated because I couldn't find my phone anywhere. I told my mom about it and she replied, "Wait a second, I'll hang up and then call it so you can find it." I figured out how dumb I was as I was staring the ringing phone in my hand. We had a good laugh about it. But apple really doesn't fall far from the tree. Very similar story, but it was my mum yelling me places to look for the phone while I was on the phone to her. My divorce finalized in early 2017. In late 2017, I got back together with my ex-wife. sitting across from my ex-wife in a Mexican restaurant in late 2019 after our 1000th argument. I very calmly but firmly said we're the stupidest people on the f***ing planet. She agreed. A couple days later she moved out. In my kitchen I have one cabinet for bowls and plates and another one for cups. This hasn't changed since moving into the house 4 years ago. About 75% of the time, I open the wrong cabinet to get what I need. Even when I try really hard to focus on opening the right cabinet, I still regularly get it wrong. That was the final straw that validated my stupidity. I once talked to my girlfriend about the impressive records of Cristiano Ronaldo in football. In her next sentence she asked, "How old is Ronaldo?" To which I stupidly replied, "Who's Ronaldo?" I used to work at a lovely deli around 2 or 3 years ago. Some of the beverages we offered was fresh hot coffee. A gentleman walked in and asked for a coffee with lots of cream. "Not a problem," says I. I pull out the cream, take the lid off, and my boss reminds me to shake it first. "Not a problem," I think again, and shake the open lidless carton of light cream, sending cream all over the floor, counter, fridge, etc. Everyone in the deli just stopped and stared at me for a few of the longest seconds of my life. Made me rethink so much of my life. Forgot to check the oven before preheating. Set a forgotten pizza box on fire. Husband will never let me live it down. It was several years ago. Here's one. My wife threw a graduation party for me. She bought corn on the cob to make. I put it in the oven in the plastic grocery bags to store it for later. Hours go by, and I preheat the oven for something and go outside. I made plastic dipped corn on the cob for our guests. This conversation with my boss. I will be in late tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment. Is everything okay? Yes. Why do you ask? I was in my late 30s before I realized you can raise the lever on the toaster to lift up the toast and easily grip it, instead of playing operation with your fingers and the toaster slots. Not me, but my sister had this realization when I challenged her confident proclamation that she wanted to sit at the back of the roller coaster to get a longer ride. During a dental appointment, my dentist asked me to bite down on this little strip of like sandpaper. Not sure what it's called exactly, but she says okay now, tap, tap, tap. But while she said it, she motioned with her hands like this. What she meant was tap my teeth down on the sandpaper a few times. I took it as okay, I'll tap my fingers together, and just mimicked her gesture. She was trying so hard not to laugh at me when I realized what I had done. I was 10, at a basketball tournament out of the city. I told my mother I was going to a friend's room at the hotel we were staying at. He was 3 floors below the room we were staying in. I got in the elevator, and pressed floor 6. The doors closed and nothing happened. I pressed floor 6 again. Instant panic shot through my body. Pure sweat dripping down my forehead. I was stuck in an elevator. Instantly, I had to I sat on the floor for 10 minutes, accepting that this is where I was going to die. Not once did it occur to me to press the emergency button. As I sat there and went through how I would die, I figured, I might as well press the door open button, and see if I could reset the elevator or some magnificent plan. I pressed door open and the elevator doors opened, and there I was, on the 6th floor. I immediately remembered that I was staying on the 6th floor, and pressed the same button that was the floor I was staying on. That's why it didn't move. I needed to go to the 3rd floor. I was working with my deaf co-worker and the store we worked at was having a sale on AirPod Pros. I forgot he wouldn't be able to use them and was miming to him that he should buy some. He just pointed to his ears and shook his head. Then to make it worse, I kept trying to sign to him that I was sorry and kept signing thank you instead. He at least got a good laugh out of it. I'm from the South and dated a girl when I was younger. First time meeting her mom, in a heavy New York accent. She asked me, "You like dogs?" I said, "No thanks, I'm not hungry." It took me way too long to realize she was talking about the 2 giant pets they had, which were literally in between us, and not f***ing hot dogs. Not me, but my sister. One time she went to go put a glass of water in the microwave to help keep her food moist, but the glass was too tall. Instead of getting a smaller glass out of the cabinet, she poured half the water out into the sink. The glass still wouldn't fit in the microwave, and she realized after what she had done. When I was 15 and my deodorant spray can was blocked, I squinted into the little hole after unblocking and pressed It worked. I couldn't see from one eye for 2 days. Height of stupidity lol. But taught me a valuable lesson. If you like this video, you can subscribe. We'll be glad to see you here.